Merci, Angelique, and welcome, everyone. Bienvenue to this very important and historic occasion. And I want to begin by sincerely echoing Angelique's thanks to the members of the task force for all the hard work, the very thoughtful work that they've put in to the report and the recommendations. The work of the task force on anti-Black racism has led us to examine Concordia's history, as well as the relations of its founding institutions, Loyola College and Sir George Williams University, with Black communities. We are determined to look honestly at our past as an institution in order to build trust and move forward to a better future. One critical thing this means for Concordia is that we have to directly address the student protest that took place at Sir George in 1969, as well as its aftermath. The protest was triggered by complaints of racial discrimination made by Black and Caribbean students against a university professor. Those complaints were largely ignored, mismanaged, and dismissed. For months, the students pursued many channels to be heard, but they were met with inaction by the university and told that their complaints were not legitimate. After almost a year of the university refusing to address Black students' concerns about their experiences of racism on campus, a large group of students occupied the university's computer center and faculty lounge to bring attention to the issue. The protest brought the topic of institutional racism to the forefront of the university. It also galvanized people far beyond campus, both in Montreal and the rest of Canada, as movements to address racial and social injustice were taking place around the world. In response to the occupation of the Hall building, university leaders called the police. That decision led to the arrest, in some cases the violent arrest, of 97 students. Those arrests and the suppression of the protest had serious, lasting consequences for many individuals. These ranged from jail sentences to deportation, psychological trauma, physical injury, social alienation, loss of employment, and the disruption of academic degrees, even to the point of not finishing them. Sadly, the university's actions and inactions were a stark manifestation of institutional racism. The adverse effects of that behavior reverberated widely, not just in Black communities in Montreal, but also beyond, particularly in the Caribbean, where many of the Sir George students were from. Concordia University, with the support of its Board of Governors, apologizes for the decisions and actions of university leaders at the time. We also apologize for the harm that was caused to Black students at the university and for the negative impact felt by Black communities in Montreal and beyond. We recognize the deep and often dire consequences that the actions of the university had at the time and how those consequences have continued to echo through the years. In addition, we deeply regret our silence in the decades since the protest. That silence has contributed to a deterioration of trust and a breach in Concordia's ties with Black communities. It should not have taken more than 50 years to acknowledge the wrongs leading up to and in 1969. Today, we must recognize how institutional racism manifests itself, not just historically, but in the current reality of our education systems, including higher education. This also means taking stock of the lasting effect that systemic racism has on students and communities beyond the university. We must be committed to ensuring that institutional racism is confronted so that events such as those of 1969 are not repeated. For Concordia, reckoning with these events is a long, overdue, necessary step, but it is not an end in itself. Yes, this public apology reflects our need to question past ideologies and past acts. It also holds us accountable to do better and reflect our commitment to strive every day to be a community where everyone can feel that they belong, where everyone's experiences are considered legitimate, and where, consequently, we can all reach our full potential. Looking forward, the Task Force on Anti-Black Racism has recommended specific, meaningful actions that will guide us on this path. The task force has worked over the last 2 years to generate recommendations anchored in the lived experience of Black students, faculty, staff, and alumni. The measures it has put forward span most aspects of university life. They aim to improve our governance and policies, promote academic excellence, and a thriving campus community for Black students, and support Black faculty and staff. Equally, they aim to encourage Black knowledges and nurture mutually beneficial relationships with Black communities beyond the university. Now, we begin the hard work of delivering on these recommendations and strengthening our relationships with Black communities on campus and in Montreal. As you bear witness, we reach out to everyone at Concordia to be partners in building a more equitable and just community. Je vais maintenant répéter en français les points essentiels de nos excuses et les actions prévues. L'Université Concordia, avec le soutien de son conseil d'administration, s'excuse pour les décisions et les mesures prises par la direction de l'université qui ont mené aux événements de 1969. Nous nous excusons également pour le préjudice causé aux membres noirs de l'effectif étudiant à l'université, ainsi que pour toutes les répercussions négatives de ces événements sur les communautés noires à Montréal et ailleurs. Nous reconnaissons les conséquences graves et souvent désastreuses des mesures prises par l'université à l'époque et leurs répercussions persistantes au fil des années. En outre, nous regrettons profondément notre silence au fil des décennies qui ont suivi la manifestation. Ce silence a participé à la fragilisation de la confiance ainsi qu'à la rupture des liens entre l'Université Concordia et les communautés noires. Il n'aurait pas dû falloir plus de 50 ans pour reconnaître les erreurs qui ont été commises à cette époque. Pour Concordia, la prise de conscience au sujet de son rôle dans ces événements est une étape nécessaire qui n'a que trop tardé. Mais il ne s'agit pas d'une fin en soi. Ces excuses témoignent de notre engagement à nous efforcer chaque jour de former une communauté à l'égard de laquelle tous peuvent éprouver un sentiment d'appartenance où les expériences de chacune et chacun sont considérées comme légitimes et où, par conséquent, nous pouvons tous réaliser notre plein potentiel. Le groupe de travail directeur sur le racisme contre les Noirs a dressé une liste des mesures significatives et concrètes qui nous guideront sur cette voie à l'avenir. Ces 2 dernières années, le groupe de travail a œuvré afin d'élaborer des recommandations ancrées dans les expériences vécues par les employés, professeurs, étudiants et diplômés noirs. Les mesures proposées par le groupe de travail concernent la plupart des aspects de la vie universitaire. Nous nous attelons maintenant à la tâche considérable de mettre en œuvre ces recommandations et de renforcer nos relations avec les communautés noires sur le campus et à Montréal. Par la présente déclaration, nous sollicitons la participation de tous les membres de la communauté de Concordia à nos efforts pour bâtir une communauté plus équitable et plus juste.